All right, this is the second video, and we're focusing on that number 5. Oh, where is that? Number 5 right here, making the denominators the same. We have 3 ways to do that. Now I'm gonna focus on rule number 1, and we're gonna go through and do 3 different problems with rule number 1. It says for rule number 1 to use the greater denominator. What does that mean? Well, if we look at 3/4 and 5/8, if we look at the denominators, 4 is a factor of 8, and 8 is a multiple of 4. I can also show that in a different way. If I were to write, okay, I'm gonna write multiples of 4, 4, 8, 12, right? And if I were to write multiples of 8, 8, 16, 8 times 3 is 24. If we look at it, 8 is a common multiple for both of these numbers. So we're gonna go ahead and use this greater denominator 8 because of course 4 is a factor of 8. So we can make 4 into 8 if we multiply it by something. 4 times something will give us 8. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep 5/8 here, but we're gonna bring down 3/4. And we're gonna multiply it by a fraction of 1 to give us something with a denominator of 8 so that we can compare it to 5/8. All right, so 4 times something is gonna give us something with a fraction over 8. Well, 4 times what will give me 8? That's 2. So what is my fraction of 1 going to be if I have a 2 on the denominator? It's gonna be 2 over 2. So since 4 times 2 equals 8, I have to figure out the numerator. 3 times 2 would be 6/8. So now I have 2 fractions. I have 6/8 and 5/8 that I can compare. It's a lot easier than saying 3/4 and 5/8. They're very different. So when you can change 3/4, the fourths, and you can make them into 8ths like 5/8, they're easier to compare. So 6/8, which is greater? 6/8, which is the same thing as 3/4, or 5/8. 6/8 is bigger, right? 6 out of 8 is more than 5 out of 8. So we would say that 3/4 is bigger since 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4. All right, we're gonna do another one. Sorry, I've got my phone, my shadow here. There's my hand. Okay, so we have 4/6 and 2/3. We're using this, it says to use the greater denominator. And let me tell you why. 3 and 6 work really well together because 3 is a factor of 6. 6 is a multiple of 3. You could times 3 times something will give you 6. And so we're gonna use this denominator as our same denominator for both of the fractions. We're just gonna change 2/3 to be a fraction with a 6 on the denominator. And to do that, I'm gonna bring down this 2/3. 2/3 times something is going to give me a fraction with a 6 on the bottom so that I can compare it to 4/6. So 3 times what will give me 6? Again, that's gonna be 2. So what I'm multiplying on the bottom, I have to do on the top. My fraction of 1. 3 times 2 equals 6. 2 times 2 equals 4. So I'm comparing 4/6. 2/3 is 4/6 and 4/6. So they are actually equal. They are the same fraction. How cool is that? All right. And we were able to tell that by multiplying 2/3 times 2 over 2. Okay, now let's do one more. Okay, so the 3, we got that one, now we're gonna do this one. 3/5 or 7/10, which one is bigger? They're totally different fractions, but I do notice that on the denominators, 5 is a factor of 10, 10 is a multiple of 5. I could say 5 times something will give me 10. All right, so I'm gonna use 10 as my same denominator that I'm gonna do for both of them. So I'm gonna keep 7/10 the same. I just am going to change 3/5 so that it has a 10 on the bottom. Okay, so 3/5 times something will give me something over 10. So 5 times what will give me 10? 5 times 2 will give me 10. Okay, 3 times, this is gonna have to be 2 as well. 3 times 2 gives me 6/10. So I have 3/5, which is equivalent to 6/10. So imagine this was 6/10 over here versus 7/10, which is bigger. 7/10 is bigger, okay? So that right there is rule number 1, using the greater denominator. That is what we mean by rule number 1, okay? And I'm going to have you practice with just this rule number 1 in your next activity, okay? So if you need help with this rule number 1, please refer back to this video. And since it is a video, you can always pause it and you can watch it multiple times to get some help, okay?